Hi there, and thank you for tuning in to The Social Circus, where every week we dive into a variety of topics covering social media, mindset, and how to run your business. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Hello, my lovely listeners, and welcome to a brand new year. Welcome to 2025, and welcome back to episode 135 of The Social Circus. I am so thrilled to be coming back to you for another year. In March, my podcast will have been going for 3 years, which seems incredible. I simply don't know where the time has gone. And in that time, I have been showing up in your ears every single week, apart from our season breaks, which we take over Christmas. And today is the first episode back after our season break. Now, I've got a bunch of exciting episodes coming up for you. And today I wanted to kick off with talking about how do you set your word for the year. Now, I know that everyone's social feeds is full of someone's word. And I think people sometimes just choose a word like an arbitrary word, and you kind of think, well, I wonder how they got there and what did that look like? So for today, I want to walk you through the process of how do you set the word for yourself, for your business for 2025. Now, I want to start with letting you know what my word is and what does it mean to me. So for 2025, my word is shine. And the reason I've chosen that word is because I feel like over the last, probably during COVID and even last year, I felt like I wasn't as visible as I wanted to be. I felt like maybe I was playing a little bit small, and I felt like I wasn't out there as much as I would like to have been. And so the shine is a reminder that I'm going to be stepping forward, that I'm going to be really visible, and I'm going to expand and show up. So that's what my word for the year is. And I want to walk you through, I hope you like that word. I want to walk you through a little bit of the process over how do you get to choose your word and what are some of the things that you can do? Because of course you can simply pluck a word from the thin air and that can be your word for the year, but I'd like it to be meaningful and I'd like it to have relevance for you. So the first thing I think that you need to do is really look backwards before we look forwards. And what I mean by that is I'd love you to do a little bit of a reflection on the year that has been, so for 2024. And I want you to ask yourself a few little things. So if you're listening to me and you want to pause me, feel free to do that. If you're in the car, maybe do it mentally because you can still do this process. And ask yourself what felt good about 2024? What were some of your biggest challenges and how did you overcome them? And what moments did you feel proud of or that felt really aligned with why you're in business? Like, what are your values? What's your core mission? And how did those show up? So you can write down 3 themes or 3 emotions based on those responses of what did that feel like. And so they might not necessarily positive words like 2024 might have felt like it was hard. It might have felt like a struggle. It might have felt like you had to keep showing up and be really resilient. So it doesn't have to be positive words, but I want you to write down those 3 themes or emotions that showed up for you for last year and for you to be able to reflect on those and how did they feel. So as I said, if you need to pause me now and just take a moment to do that, either mentally or grab your phone and pop it in your notes, whatever feels right for you is absolutely fine. Now, the next step is I want you to visualize what 2025 is going to look like for you. So the simplest way to do that is a quick visualization exercise. And I love visualizations because it steps us into that space of where do I want to be and what do I want it to feel like? So thank you, Spotify. There are so many amazing visualizations. I really like the guided ones that say, imagine that it's the 31st of December, 2025. What would you like to look back on and feel truly fulfilled about? What kind of person do you want to be this year? So if I was to ask you to define success for you this year, what would it look like? So for me, based on my word shine, it would be things like I showed up really, really consistently. So one of my goals is to run free 2 webinars every single month in 2025 as a way of showing up for my audience, giving amazing value for free, and also because it gives me an opportunity to shine. Yes, it is a little bit scary and slightly terrifying to be doing webinars all the time, but it's also a way for me to show up and shine and let people experience my brilliance. And that's what my plan is. So for me, if I was to look back and say, wow, Sarah, every twice a month for the whole of the year, you ran free webinars for your audience and you showed up and were present and visible and you did these things and you stepped out of your comfort zone and I embodied that word shine. Okay. So that's what I want to feel like. So I want you to think about imagining it's the 31st of December this year, imagining what would make you feel proud, what would make you feel happy, like what would you have achieved? And I want you to jot down just some words or phrases that allow you to think about those feelings. So say, I would like to be, and I would be proud of, and I am excited by. So those little prompts are really, really fantastic. And as I mentioned, if you go to Spotify and you type in affirmations or meditation on best year, best day, there are some really good ones that you can follow. I'm not a meditation expert. I love doing them, but I'm not an expert. So I suggest that if that's something you want to really dive into, absolutely go and find some online. So now we've got some words from last year and some themes and emotions, and then we've got that future predictions of what is it going to look like for us at the end of this year. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to connect the dots. Okay. So we're going to be looking for some words and phrases, some patterns and some themes. So I want you to look at some common themes or emotions that you've written across those two different lists that you've got. So if you wrote calm, balance and peace, maybe your word for the year could be harmony. If you wrote like courage, bold, unstoppable, maybe your word is brave. Okay. So again, once you start to see those words and feel those themes, now remember, we have AI now. And you can write down the words and you can say to like ChatGPT, this is my summary of last year and this is how it felt. And this is how I would like to feel this year. Can you, because AI is so good at finding patterns, it's one of its kind of zone of genius things. What it can do is help you find those patterns and those themes and those recurring sentiments, because it's really good at sentiment analysis, and help you to find those. So once you start to see a kind of a theme or a trend, you can do that yourself. Or as I said, there is absolutely nothing wrong with using AI to help you connect these dots. Okay. So your next step is really to help you choose your word and to find that word that feels right, even if it's outside of your comfort zone. Okay. Because remember, a word is meant to set our intention and to help us focus and to push us forward. So what I mean by that is it might feel a little bit uncomfortable. It might feel like a stretch, but I want it to feel exciting. Okay. I want you to think about what would feel like if I was to sum up the year on December 31st and I said, this year I felt like I just shone all year. How would that feel? And if I'm honest, it would feel amazing. Okay. So I want you to think about some really good words. Like I said, shine is my word. Other words are like balance, joy, empower, create, thrive, bold, focus. Okay. So you can see how they're big overarching themes that tend to be aligned with how we want to show up and how do we want to feel about ourselves and our business. Now, when it comes to your word, it is really important that you feel right about it, like it feels good and you feel aligned to it. So I want you to say it aloud and I want you to hear yourself say shine and I want you to feel into it. I want you to write it down and I want you to sit with it for a moment and ask yourself, does this word light you up? Does it feel aligned with where I want to go? And if I, as I said, at the end of this year, you felt like you had embodied that, how would it feel for you? Because that's what's most important. We want it to feel fabulous. We want it to feel amazing. Okay. Really, really important. And this is why I'm saying it's not just an arbitrary word. It should be something that you feel really connected to. Now, the last thing that I want you to do is I want you to anchor yourself into that word. So remember, the word that you choose is more than just an idea. It should be a guide to help you through 2025 and to be that anchor point of like asking yourself, if someone says to me, Sarah, can you go ahead and do this? And I'm like, oh, I don't want to. That feels scary. And then I remind myself, well, this is my year to shine. What would shining Sarah do? She would say yes and she would show up. Okay. So remember, it's meant to be that little guiding light that's like, no, this is who I want to be. This is who I want to step into. And this is how I want to remember 2025. Okay. So keep that in mind. It's really, really important. So when you want to anchor words, there's a lot of mindset around this and there are different ways that you can do this. So obviously, if you're doing vision board or planning, fantastic way to capture it is to use that. And remember, with vision boards, you can go to, there's so many great workshops around at the moment, online and in person. Plus, you can actually use Canva to create a vision board if you're not very arts and crafty. And you can get that printed off and you can have that word looking back at you, which I really, really love. If you have a planner, put it in there in big, beautiful, bold letters, really make it visible and obvious for you. And then I want you to add it to things like the screensaver on your phone, the screensaver on your laptop or your computer, so that you're seeing that word really regularly and you're almost using it like an affirmation, like it's my year to shine, it's my year to shine. Okay, so I want you to then think about how else can you incorporate it into your everyday life. And so if you like journaling, this is a great place to do it because you can ask yourself, how will I shine today? That's what I would ask myself, like, how will I show up today? What will I do that will feel brave and courageous and exciting so that I feel like I am embodying my shine word for the year? Okay, so you really want to think about how you can do that. Now, I'm a big fan of journaling and I do love a bit of gratitude. And if I feel like I've stepped into that, I want to also capture that sentiment like, I'm so grateful that I chose that word because today I chose to shine by running a webinar. Today I chose to shine by doing this. And so I really feel like it becomes a habit of thinking, how can I shine? How can I show up? How can I live and breathe this? So I really want you to ask yourself, if this was important to you, to set it as your intention, how are you going to be doing it each and every day inside your business? And this is where it comes from an arbitrary word into this is what my year is all about, and this is what my focus and intent is going to be on. Now, I've got a little bonus idea for you because you all know I'm a bit of an AI girl and I love my Chat GPT. So I actually asked Chatty, which is my pet name for Chat GPT, if it could draw me an image. So if you're not aware, Chat GPT in the free version allows you to generate, I should know this, it's either 2 or 4 images every single day. If you're on the paid version, it's a lot more. Now, what I asked ChatGPT to do was create me a colouring in picture that included the word shine, and I gave it quite a few other prompts. So I said, could it please include my butterfly? Because obviously online social butterfly. So I said, please include a butterfly and please include nature, because one of my goals for this year is to spend more time in nature. And please include some other living creatures. Like I have a tattoo of a dragonfly, so I love dragonflies. And other pictures of nature like leaves and things like that. So I asked it to create a colouring in image with the word shine in the center, and it did me about 4, and they're absolutely fabulous. So I intend to print this off and play with it. I'm going to put it in the front of my goal setting planner, and I'm going to use this to come back to time and time again so I can look at that word and I can really ground myself into it and anchor myself into it so that this year, you're going to get to the end of this year and go, wow, how did that feel? What did that look like? Did I really live that? Or did I just write a word down and I didn't feel connected to it? Because that is not what we want. I don't want you to feel like I'm just going to put a word down because that's what everybody's doing now and I don't really get it. And I hope that today listening to this is a shorty podcast to launch you back into the year, but I wanted to give you some ideas to think about how to create this word, how to really step into it so it feels very aligned to you and to your business goals for this year. Now, as I said, this podcast today, what you might have chosen to do is pause and stop. But what I would really like you to do is, I know that a lot of you listen to me on the go. I would really encourage you to come back and re-listen to it if you need to use those prompts to reflect on last year, to think about where you would like to be at the end of this year, and then look for those kind of common themes, common words. And if you love AI, ask it to help you brainstorm some of those words. And then as a last task, I want you to think about how you're going to anchor that in, where you're going to see it every single day and how it's going to motivate you to live and breathe that word so that when we get to the 31st of December this year, you feel like this is really the word that I embodied and it feels fantastic. So I hope that you have enjoyed listening to this little shorty episode. I hope that you feel inspired to create a word. It would make my day if you would drop me a DM on Instagram and tell me what your word is and tell me one of the ways that you're going to show up and do that for yourself this year, because I want you to achieve incredible success in 2025. I am well aware that we have had a turbulent few years of COVID, and last year was just rough for many, many reasons. And this is going to be our year. I am so excited for what it is going to look like for us, for me in my business and for you in yours. And I really want to give you lots of tools to help you really show up and achieve the success that you want to in your business in 2025. So thank you for tuning into my podcast episode, a short one to kick off the year, I know, but I want to get you inspired. I want to get you excited, and I don't want to waste your time. You can always expect that from me on the Social Circus. So thank you, my lovely listeners. I hope you haven't missed me too much over the Christmas break. Thank you for coming back and listening to my first episode of 2025. I am excited for what the Social Circus is going to look like this year. I have got a ton of exciting episodes batched away for you over the next couple of months. But as always, if you have an idea of something you'd like me to talk about, a topic, feel free to DM me on Instagram. Let me know, hey, Sarah, I would love you to hear you talk about this. And remember, there are 134 past episodes for you to tune into that are there to help and inspire you. And you can always go back and listen to them at any point because most of them are still incredibly relevant. They are your free resources and tools to help you grow in your business this year. So thank you for being one of my loyal listeners. If you are new, welcome to the Social Circus. I'm excited for 2025 and what it's going to look like. Let me know what your word is. I'm excited to hear that. Sorry, I'll stop saying excited. And I look forward to catching you each and every week. A podcast episode for the Social Circus comes out every single Wednesday of the year. The only time we take a break is over Christmas. We have a season break. So you can expect me to be really regularly showing up for you and your business. So I hope you have a wonderful 2025. I hope you have created a word that feels exciting and aligned. And I look forward to seeing what it holds for us. So thank you for tuning into the Social Circus. I will catch you the same time next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Social Circus. As your host, Sarah Thompson, I am thrilled that you've chosen to spend your time hanging out with me. I would be so grateful if you could spare an extra moment to go and leave me a review on your favorite podcasting platform. And if you even felt more excited, you could share my podcast with your friends who you think would get great value from it. Thanks so much again for tuning in.